everybody. Welcome to a special digital edition of State Champs Indiana. I'm your host, Lauren Planton. Today, we are going to dive into the 81st annual IHSAA State Wrestling Finals held February 15th and 16th at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Thousands of high school wrestlers from across the Hoosier State competed all season long, but it came down to just 2 days to determine 14 weight class championships and the team championship that was on the line. 224 wrestlers competed in 280 matches, so there is a lot of wrestling to break down. So without any further ado, let's dive right into the action.
Let's start out with the little guys in the 106 weight class. The only undefeated member of the field, sophomore from Perry Meridian, Alexander Cauty, was focused on getting back to the finals for the second year in a row. A pin and a 2-point decision in the prelims and quarterfinals paved the way to square off against sophomore Alec Freeman of Evansville Mater Dei. However, it was freshman Brendan Kernis from Culver Academy who simply dominated the weekend. He won via Tech Falls in the preliminary and semifinal matches to go with a major decision. 13-0 wins the quarters. He would meet up with Cauty in the final. He posted shutouts in all 4 matches to cruise through the bracket. And it would be the freshman Brendan Kernis who is your 106-pound state champion. Alec Freeman would take home the 3rd place medal, taking down Suhas Kundi of Carmel.
Let's go to the 113 weight class. Freshman Zeke Seltzer from Indianapolis Cathedral entered the tournament with a 39-1 record and made quick work of his preliminary matchup against Angola junior Jet Boots. He would down his next 2 opponents by decision. Meeting the freshman Seltzer in the final was senior Jacob Moran from Portage High School, no stranger to Bankers Life Fieldhouse, having won the 106 weight class in 2018 and placing 8th in the 106 as a freshman in 2016. In the finals, it was Seltzer, Moran, freshman versus senior. Midway through the match, it's Seltzer with a nice far side low ankle that put him in danger for a stalemate call, though no score was tallied. As we move on, it's Moran with the awesome persistence on the single leg finish attempt as he was able to fend off Zeke Seltzer and nab the 3-0 decision. Jacob Moran ends his career with back-to-back state titles.
The 120-pound weight class features 4 wrestlers returning back to Indianapolis, including sophomore Blake Borman of Evansville Mater Dei, who was looking to build off his 3rd place finish in the 113 weight class a year ago. Borman had to go through a tough Crown Point Wrangler, Riley Bedich, winning 5-4 in the quarterfinal before defeating Brownsburg's Kyson Montgomery to advance to the finals. Top half of the bracket was a little more interesting as it featured the only 2 unbeaten wrestlers in the class meeting in the semifinals, Center Grove Jr. Braden Lytle and Roncalli Jr. Braden Lowry. It was Lytle who bested Lowry, a top 5 finisher the past 2 seasons. Lowry would go on to take 3rd place. Lytle met up with Borman with the 120-pound title on the line. Lytle controlled most of the match, wrestling smart, nearing the finish, drops to a single to ice the match and get the win. Center Grove's Braden Lytle is the new champion at 120 pounds.
At 126, undefeated freshman Jesse Mendez from Crown Point, who knocked out the 2018 120-pound champion, Jimtown senior Hunter Watts, in the semifinal by major decision, pinned his first 2 opponents of the tournament before his major decision sent him to the finals to face junior Raymond Rue of Avon, last year's 3rd place finisher at 120. Rue's pass, if he wanted the title, was difficult, but it included a pin in the prelims and a major decision against Leo's Ian Heath before he faced off against the 2-time state champion Yorktown's Braden Curtis, who won the 113 title in 2018 and the 106 title in 2017. Rue came out on top to face freshman Mendez. And just like that, Mendez will enter 2019-2020 as a defending champion. And he celebrated the only way with a nice backflip. Watts finished in 3rd place and the 4th top 6 finish of his high school career.
In the 132-pound weight class, Avon senior Asa Garcia continued his dominant high school career, No stranger to Bankers Life Fieldhouse, Garcia is a two-time state champion, winning the 126 crown last year and was the 106 champ as a freshman, not to mention a third-place finish in 2017. Garcia won a major decision in his semifinal against last year's 7th-place finisher in this weight class to head to the championship match. There he met up with Roncalli Jr. Alex Vidaya, who placed 4th in 126 as a sophomore and was a 113 champion as a freshman. Overmatching Vidaya, Garcia with the awesome leg pass comes out the back door and locks up the near side cradle with a roll for the fall. It was the first of only 2 pins all day in the final championship round, as IHSAA Garcia becomes the 30th 3-time state champion in Indiana high school wrestling history. In the third-place match, Brooks beats Jimtown senior Matthew Gimson, who entered the tournament undefeated, by a point to take home the win in a rematch of last year's 7th-place match.
Columbus East senior Caden Rooks jumped up to the 138 weight class and was seeking redemption after placing 2nd last year at 126 to IHSAA Garcia, this year's 132-pound champ. Rooks made quick work in the prelims and quarterfinals thanks to a tech fall against Greektown Eastern senior Micaiah White and a major decision against Kyle Holman. In the semis, Rooks scraped by Connor Grimson 3-1 to advance to the finals, where he would meet Wawasee senior Braxton Alexander. Rooks with the great low single to split the legs and finishes for the 2. Solid finish to become state champion at 138. Gimson would pin Roncalli's Tice Frier in the 3rd-place matchup.
At 145, Matthew Lee, the junior out of Evansville, Mater Dei, faced difficulties getting past the quarterfinals in his first 2 trips to Bankers Life as a freshman and sophomore, placing 7th both years in the 126 and 138 weight classes. However, this year he brought a perfect 37-0 record into the state tournament. He met up with last year's 132 runner-up Alex Mosconi, the senior out of Indianapolis Cathedral. Lee works a great double leg against Mosconi, staying low, and gets a smart ride out for the 5-2 decision win. Sophomore Aiden Warren out of Perry Meridian beat the only other undefeated member of the weight class, Attica's Jordan Douglas, in the prelims and would take home 3rd place after Mosconi pinned him in the semis.
To 152 we go. Indianapolis Cathedral sent 5 wrestlers to this year's tournament, including Elliot Rogers, the runner-up in this weight class as a sophomore, and was 4th in the 145 at the 2017 finals. He squeaked by Fort Wayne Carroll's Ethan Hicks by a 10-9 decision before beating Chesterton sophomore Brock Ellis 7-0 to advance to the finals. That's where he met sophomore Cooper Noer, sitting at 41-3 on the year. The duo would battle through a hard-fought match, but this one would go into sudden victory. Both wrestlers working as Noer tries for the legs, but is rebuffed by Rogers, who counters with a strong inside trip for the overtime win, showing us all some high-level technique in the process. It was the only sudden victory decision in the finals of the state tournament. Noer's semifinal opponent, sophomore Evansville Mater Dei Eli Dickens, with the 3rd-place finish over Brock Ellis.
Last year's 5th-place finisher at 152, Donald Washington Jr., a senior out of Portage, just purely dominated his first 3 matches. Pinning freshman Gabe Saulers in Evansville Mater Dei just 59 seconds into the match, he then won by major decision, 15-5 in the quarterfinals, and again against 160 7th-place finisher Brooks Davis of Perry Meridian, 14-2 to reach the 160 finals. Davis earned the 3rd-place finish this time around, but 160 was owned by Jordan Slivka, another Indianapolis Cathedral wrestler. Slivka took home the championship at 145 last year, as well as a pair of top 5 finishes his freshman and sophomore year. Like Washington, Slivka pinned his preliminary opponent in under a minute before scraping past Castle's Robert Dieters in the quarterfinals in sudden victory. To reach the finals, Slivka pinned Belmont's John Rubel. Washington and Slivka in the finals, Washington tries the desperation gator roll and gets caught as Slivka is able to ice the match and the win. Slivka ends his high school career as a back-to-back state champion.
Entering the 170 weight class finals with a pristine 40-0 record was Columbus East senior Nick South, who worked his way through the bracket to face Roncalli senior Elijah Mahan in the semifinals. He would advance to the finals against Garrett Jr. Clayton Fielden, who took down Bloomington South senior Derek Bluebaugh with a 6-4 decision to meet up with South. This was Fielden's first appearance at the state tournament against South, who was the 160 champion from a year ago. Here South is as Fielden attempts to go low. South comes back with a nice reshot high crotch with a scramble and finally gets the go behind for the 2. A little later on, South gets a nasty wing and bar over for the 3 near fall. Desperation last effort for Fielden as he tries a front head pinch attempt but is neutralized by South. Proving no match for Fielden, South is crowned champion again with the 11-0 major decision. In the consolation matchup, Mahan, the 5th place finisher at 170 from a year ago, bested Bluebaugh 13-10 to take home 3rd place.
At 182 now, the Final 4 wrestlers consisted of Culver Academy's freshman Andrew Donahue, Edgewood senior Levon Bellamy, Avon senior Carson Brewer, and Chesterton sophomore Evan Bates. In the top half of the bracket, it was the freshman Donahue versus Bellamy. Donahue would walk away victorious and head to the finals. On the bottom half, it's Brewer versus Bates. Brewer, with his 2nd major decision, would meet the freshman Donahue and take home the 6-2 decision. And with that, Brewer remains unbeaten, capping a 42-0 season and the newly minted 182-pound champion.
Moving up to 195, we had a pair of undefeated wrestlers square off in the semifinals. Castle senior Will Nunn and Shenandoah junior Salas Alred, a 5th place finisher at 182 in 2018. Alred had scored a tech fall in the prelims and pinned Cale Gray in the quarterfinals. And he had no problem advancing to the 195 final, pinning Nunn in just 33 seconds of the match. At the top half of the bracket, Greenwood Community senior Nick Wilham worked himself into the finals to face Alred by defeating KJ Roudbush from Tipton 7-2. But Alred was one of the most dominant wrestlers of the entire tournament. Here's the cement mixer attempt that's neutralized for the near fall, but still walks away with the victory, scoring a major decision victory against Wilham 11-2. Roudbush beat Nunn 1-0 to take home 3rd place.
Another sudden victory in the semis of the 220-pound bracket gave Calumet senior Arthur Fowler the chance to square off against Brownsburg senior Lawson Aiken, who pinned Hamilton Southeastern junior Andrew Eyrick in just 1 minute 25 seconds in his semifinal match. Fowler and Aiken in the championship round. Nearing 6 minutes into the match, it's Fowler with the beautiful blast double for the win. Fowler is able to pin Aiken and take home the crown, the 2nd pin of the championship round.
At 285 in the final weight class, we had another undefeated semifinal matchup between LaVille senior Alex Cartwright and Indianapolis North Central senior Jamichael Watts. Both wrestlers pinned their prelim and quarterfinal opponents, but the match would go to a tiebreaker where Cartwright would come out on top to head to the finals. Watts would beat Harrison Jr. William Kreider in the 3rd-4th place matchup and win on a 6-5 decision for 3rd place. Brownsburg Jr. Dorian Keys won each of his first 3 matchups by decision and would face Cartwright in the finals. Midway through this tight match, before the awesome throw-by for a huge mat return and takedown, clutch move for Keys, who is now the new champion at 285.
So what'd you think? That does it for the individual champions and the team crown going to Indianapolis Cathedral with 78 points. Congratulations. They sent 4 individuals all the way through to the final round, including weight class champions in Elliot Rogers at 152 and Jordan Slivka at 160. Avon, Brownsburg, Evansville, Mater Dei, and Columbus East rounds out the top 5. That does it for us. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, Lauren Plant, and this has been a special digital edition of State Champs Indiana. More to come.